have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, you know, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence, and now
we want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, you know, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 363 of Sports on the Hill podcast. I'm joined by Gil and Cheryl Ann Forrester, aka C4 tonight. Gil, how are you doing tonight?
I'll tell you when my brain has decided to wake up. It's been a whirlwind of last 24 hours especially has been I got to say taxing with all what's happened. And not just personally. But I'll power through it, I promise.
We got your back.
So one thing I do want to mention at the top of our show, and I actually just got this this out right here. One of our good friends of the show is not well, and so I've put a link to our GoFund page or his GoFundMe page. So Wes Johnson, you know, I wanted to put it out there. Our thoughts are. He actually signed this jersey, and it says "Unleash." And so he was found unresponsive in a hospital room, you know, on a trip where he was doing some volunteer work, and he's in the hospital in the ICU, and yeah, he's not doing too well. So I just wanted to put our thoughts out there. We did have our introduction. If people were just listening, he actually introduces the show every show for us. He is the Capitals arena announcer as well. He's also known for doing a lot of big-time video games, including Bethesda soft works and stuff like that through like Shigaroth and other famous voices as well in that. The sweetest guy has taken time out of his day to show me and some other Caps fans around the penalty box before. We actually got to go to brunch with him, which is where I had him sign my TJ Oshie. So I'm going to wear this tonight in his honor. But I just wanted to show people that we are thinking of you, Wes. And in fact, if you're on Twitch, there's a command WES, and it gives information about it with the GoFundMe. Panda's in chat saying he's big sad about Wes. Yeah, so it's a little bit of sad news, but hopefully he'll be able to recover and come back. I know that medical expenses are skyrocketing. So if anyone has anything additional to give, the link is there. It's also in the show notes and the description on YouTube Live and on Facebook as well. Just wanted to start the show off with that, and our thoughts go with him and his family. And with that, C4, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I had a rather eventful week. Well, eventful Friday night. We had our CMC conference champion track meet, and our boys team won and our girls team tied for second. So that felt good. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I had a couple of kids get PRs by like a lot, which in track isn't like minutes, it's more like seconds, but
Yeah,
or
I mean,
parts of seconds.
that's always the
So depending
competition.
on the race.
To
So
beat yourself and do better each time, right? So,
that's right.
so congratulations to all of them. We are live watching a Wizards get throttled early on here in the second quarter already. We do not play well any sport in Dallas. This one although I give Commanders credit, they actually won this year in Dallas, but currently we're half their score. It's 48-21, not even really half.
Ooh,
And we have
ouch.
not won a game since the first day of January. I was hoping to get at least a second win here this month. Not great for them. But I also have Raw on Netflix on, and we got the Usos yeeting away a moment right here. Yeah, as they do.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Yes, yeet, yeet.
So that is cool. And yeah, what we any breaking news from either the basketball game, which is unlikely, or Raw, we will give you tonight as well. I also have live scoring graphics and things that from our video display as well. So let me see if I can get this working real fast, and then we can start talking about some of the goal scoring action here. So we switch.
Sorry, I just saw the War Raiders defeated Judgment Day.
They did. It was very exciting. It looked like Judgment Day was actually going to take it at one point, but then the War Raiders came back and put together a valiant effort, including like climbing the ladder to do a great move to.
Yes. Okay, I
So,
can't wait to see that when I go. I'm gonna have to watch it back later, but I don't mind knowing ahead of time what's happening. It's
yeah,
always fun. So.
it was good. It was good. All right, let's talk about another physical character and Tom Wilson scoring his 20th goal of the season. At this time, it actually tied the game with the Oilers. A tough matchup always out west. This game was without their star. Gil, we sort of talked about it a little bit last week, but for people that don't know what happened to Mr. Connor McDavid, let people know, and then we can get into this game as well.
So Connor McDavid, some argue the league's best player at the time, was caught in a scrum with Vancouver's Connor Garland, and in retaliation for the physicality, he decided to cross-check Connor Garland in the face, not once but twice, and the league office took a dim view of it and decided to suspend him for 5 games. Hence why he was unavailable for this game against the Caps, and that may have turned out to be a good thing.
Yeah.
At least for the Caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll never complain when one of their other team's best players isn't playing. So
Yeah.
and also it was a clearly dirty hit. Although, I mean, there was some beef to be had saying he wasn't protected, he was held down, and he doesn't get the same star treatment that other people like Crosby get. There is some talk of that and how he says, well, if you're going to suspend me, maybe I won't show up for events in your future, which I don't know. I think that seems like a very not realistic threat because it just lowers his value. So I don't think from a functional standpoint that's particularly good for his brand. But I understand what he's saying. But you still can't cross-check people in the face. And especially with the butt end of the stick.
Right.
And then not show remorse for it, which does not help your case. So all right. So with that being said, Tom Wilson ties this game up here with their new goal scoring thing with the update. The goal scorer is now highlighted in this graphic. We are in white. We're on the road. And Gil, take it from there.
Okay, so you can see Tom Wilson in the double circle highlighted as Robbie mentioned. Play begins in the other end. Carlson recovers, gets it over to Protas, turns it into 2-on-1. 27 for the defense, turns into flopping doofus, flips it over. Protas flips it over, and Wilson puts it in, and we're celebrating with fireworks because he is once again a 20-goal scorer.
There we go. There you go.
Yes.
I like fireworks. Gil's testing his editing. I know that you missed it last week. He's now adding some razzle dazzle, if you will, to the videos.
I love it.
So
I try.
yeah, I like it. So C4, what are your thoughts on this Tom Wilson goal?
Tom Wilson doing Tom Wilson things, getting in front of that net, being in the right place at the right time, and I love it. And you'll have to excuse my arm here. I'm fighting with a cat who's trying to climb over my computer screen. I'm trying to get him to go the other way.
Cat climbing.
over my computer screen. He's now sitting on my printer. Nope. Excuse me. Nope, we're not coming this way. Go that way. And that whoosh you hearing is brushing up against my microphone. So I apologize for the technical
You're fine.
stuff.
I'm gonna set up a third or another camera. People can see my animals as well. And so with that, let's get into the next goal here. So this one makes it 2-1 with Matt Roy. Beautiful goal here.
I loved this goal.
You can see that he is one of the last people to enter the zone, but it makes a great play on the puck and a really great goal for him, his second goal of the season. But I'll let Gil break it down.
Yeah, this one no razzle dazzle here, just very workmanlike goal here. Connor McMichael rather starts the play by winning the battle in the corner, hands it off to Dubois. They kind of play a two-man game along the half wall. Finally, get it back to Roy, who unleashes a blast. It's kind of a seeing eye one, just tucked under the pad of the goalie Skinner for his second of the year. But yeah, this was a pretty good goal. And Roy, not known for his scoring, but pretty good shot on this one, I thought.
Yeah, really, really nice shot. I was so impressed by it. I was really not expecting it. I just thought, he shot it from the blue line. It's sort of the CNI pucks and just great net front presence, as you were talking about, dragging so many people to the front there. And because this is a 5-on-5 goal, but look, right there, Connor's sucking in, 2 or 3 players, right into that sort of center place right there. And it makes it very difficult.
Because it looked like he was almost getting ready for the setup for Dubois. Who else was down there? Michael and Protus was in front of there too.
I was going to say, it's actually Protus setting the screen, and then McMichael comes in and draws, looks like, I think that's Darnell Nurse.
It also draws the eyes of the goalie, because the goalie thinks that they're going to do a shot pass to McMichael coming across.
Right, McMichael or Protus coming across, and
coming across. You got a guy up front, so you really can't take the shot from the point at that point. It's like you have to pick your battles. You can't cover all three. So, but
I like these kinds of shots though, because when they outside shots typically are not dangerous shots. I understand that. But when you see the defenseman and you see a guy seeing an opportunity and just taking the shot, that always to me is a good thing, considering there were only 14 shots in this game. So it's just another one of those things. If you throw it at the net, good things are going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. And I like shooting it from that, especially with 2 guys in front. Like if there is it's gonna be hard for him to cleanly catch it from there. And
if he doesn't get it in, there's somebody there for the rebound. So
exactly. So and Protus has been so good at that. And
the second chance shots.
And McMichael has great hands as well. So you guys you want to have down low in there. And so then the third goal, Pierre-Luc Dubois makes it 3-1 Capitals with 3:49 left. Gil, take away from there.
Okay, so Logan Thompson actually starts his play, hands it off to Dubois, who gets it over to Eller. And, we talked about the divisional doink. This was a doink of his own. Eller shot it, and it hit off the post. But the play would not have started without Logan Thompson's help.
That was
Dubois collect the garbage after it hit off the post and scores. But we are.
I love it. Going hard to the net, cashing in on rebounds, as we were just talking about, the opportunity being there. And yes, the first point for a goalie this season, I believe. And good for him. A lot of goalies getting points in the last couple of weeks with goals and assists. Interesting. I hadn't seen very many this season up until that. So a great goal. And Pierre-Luc Dubois has been phenomenal. What a great pickup in my mind.
Easily the best player this week, maybe the whole month. And how about Logan Thompson? Gets his big contract and still manages to give.
Yeah,
he just gives.
I love. him.
Yeah, the contract came out today. Is that right?
Yes, they announced it today.
Yeah, I actually have a copy of it with me because I knew we were going to talk about it. And so oh, sorry, there we go. It's a 6 year, carries a 5.85 average a year, million, which is not bad for what he is. I just hope that he doesn't. Yeah, sometimes you give goalies these big contracts and they're good for a year or two. Hopefully he can be good, but it's not like a 9 million or anything too absolutely bonkers. But you knew it was going to be up from where he was, this year. And
Right.
Gil, what are your thoughts on the contract?
I like it. It takes him up to 34 years of age. So we're not going to have an aging netminder necessarily. We don't really have certain cohorts of mine would argue otherwise, but we really don't have any goalies in the pipeline in development.
Not anytime soon, anyway.
Not anytime soon, anyway. And I hate to say, but the two AHL guys we got in Hershey are probably going to end up being career backups at best if they make it to the NHL. So this signals that this is the guy for the foreseeable future. And it's an affordable contract. It's an investment in him, but it's definitely an affordable contract. I think it's a win-win for everybody. He gets the term that he wants. Caps get a hell of a bargain here. It's pretty good signing.
Yeah, I mean, he was a bargain when we got him, so this is just and we got what we want. He gets what he wants. Like you said, win-win for everybody all around, and it leaves money for us to sign other players in Chikrin that we need to keep. So
Yeah. And there's rumors that it's going to be an expanded cap next year, that it's going to go up with some of the new.
It has to. It has to. They're out of the COVID hole that they agreed to. So it has to go up.
Yeah, I agree. It's not sustainable at the rate that they're doing it. So, especially because the TV revenue is starting to come back around again. So, like, you can't make that argument anymore that people aren't tuning in. So this game has gotten worse. It's 65-30. Oof.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's brutal. But I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. I always want to give a shout out to Benson's in chat, Interested Panda. We got Carly's in chat. Also, Adrian is in chat, Ace Caltor, and so is Dan the Sith Lord, who's going to be in hour 2. I realize we never actually previewed what's going to be on the rest of the show. We just kind of got in the hockey talk, but we will be talking football in hour 2, as well as the Monday Night Raw and this weekend's Saturday night special that they do. So that was cool. So we'll talk about that. Obviously, the Commanders, unfortunately, falling to their arch rival, the Eagles. But it happens, and we'll rip that Band-Aid off. At least we got this far to the NFC Championship. I want to give a shout out to everyone who was buying the NFC Championship merch on our podcast page. So I really appreciate that and the support of the show. And I mean, I'm bummed, but the Eagles have been at it for a couple of years. They're where we hope to be in a couple of years. So we can't expect to just come in and, be the best. And even though we did a good job of winning 2 rounds, and we didn't really expect it too much. So but it's like, why does it take so long to ship? Because it's custom. Each piece of merch is custom printed and then has to be shipped out. So it's a little difficult in that regard. So unfortunately, it takes 2 weeks to get to you. But I agree. I wanted it for the game as well. But unlikely start exactly. So it's but I think it's going to be great, and I know that the first pieces are actually arriving in the next day or two. So that'll be cool. Welcome in, CT, and let's get into was that the last goal of this game? I'm trying to remember
the last Caps goal of the game.
Then Corey Perry had a goal at 4:50 in the third period.
And then it was
Made us a
Uh,
little nervous, but it was
yeah,
still.
it was a tightening of the sphincters at the point after that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I'm happy you said it though. And yeah, it was a good game. And I know that Adrian in chat is a big Oilers fan, as well as a Caps fan. So I know that he was happy that at least we kept it close and made it exciting. And Draisaitl actually got the first star with 1 goal and 1 assist, and Logan Thompson, even with 30 saves and assists, got the second star. But that's the Oilers media for you. Right?
Yeah.
All right, with that, we're going to go into the next game. So this one is a unassisted Protos goal, so he hits the 20 goal plateau, if you will. And I'll let you take this. This game is in Seattle, and this is in the second period. And take it away, Gil.
Okay, so I'm not really sure how to describe this goal. So obviously Protus is taking it to the net now. He slips it over to Dubois, and then I'm not sure what happens after this. This thing pinballs off of a bunch of different players and then manages to go into the net. Now, as you can see, they call it an own goal, and yet they give it to Protas. Well,
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
the last capital to touch it if you do hit it off of your own guy. So maybe that's why it's unassisted, bounced around a couple of players, including hitting Protos. And then even if he wasn't the last guy to touch it,
Maybe. I wonder if.
because you can't give a goal to a player on your team.
well,
Let's see. Hold on. I pulled up the.
in soccer,
So
when they call.
Protus, it binged around
It's
behind the
different. Hockey doesn't have
net.
that same rule.
No, they don't. But in soccer, when they call something an own goal, it doesn't belong to the offensive team. They just say it's an own goal.
Yeah. Well, even
Yeah.
watching like the replay, which I just pulled up on my side screen. So hold on. Let's see. Somebody took a whack at it. Dubois took a whack at it. Protus came around the net. Dubois behind the net. He whacks it around out front, and somehow Protus gets a stick on it and it goes in. And I'm not. Oh, wait, no. Protus had batted it in the air, and I think number 29 from Seattle was trying to get. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit. 29 from Seattle tried to get it out. Tried to bat it out of the air. Hold on. They got it. Okay, so
29. That's Vince Dunn.
Mangiapane. Okay, Protus takes a shot. It rebounds up in the air, and Dunn literally takes a whack at it and whacks it in over top of Decord's head. That's what happened. I just slowed it down on the replay.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That is.
Yeah, I don't think Protus touched it after the initial shot because it bounced high.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. He's the last one to touch it, and then the other guy hits it out of the air. So
hits it out of the air and it bounces off the court into the net.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I owned that goal. I owned it.
Yes.
All right. And then Ethan Frank, who's having a hell of a time with the Capitals, just been playing some awesome hockey, really taking advantage of this opportunity to come up. Scores an unassisted goal to make it 2-0 Washington. And Gil, why don't you take this?
Just great individual effort, literally great individual effort here. So Ethan Frank, as you can see on this replay, picks the pocket of the newly acquired Capo Caco, and then just races down the ice, down the wing here.
So fast.
Takes a shot. It rebounds. He collects the rebound, puts it past Decord for his third in, was it 7 or 8 games. And you as we say, you got to frank it up, and that's the lesson learned here. You got to get in there and
The
see
Frank
what he can
Frank
do.
that sports by, is that what we're doing? You know, so.
Well, that's the lesson here. I mean, what did you think the lesson was here? Never mess with a man's wiener.
There you go.
Exactly. Oh man, this is not gonna bode well for us. Anyway, but Frank slips it in, I guess.
Even better.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right, Gil, it's catching. It's dangerous here. All right. All right. So that makes it 2-0 Washington. Save us, C4. What are your thoughts on this goal?
Just, I love watching Ethan Frank play. He is so incredibly fast, and he's got good hands, and I love just it was beautiful. He was right there, got up the ice, never gave up on the play. You know what I mean? He was there to finish the play. He saw the rebound, he grabbed it. He didn't just shoot the puck and walk away, skate away. He finished the play. And we need to see more of that. I think there's some guys that just don't do that as much as they should. And I think he's trying to prove that he deserves to be here. And I think he's so far done a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, he's really made the most of it. I mean, to the point where we have some players that we really thought we were going to get a lot out of this year, and we've put them on the shelf. I think of a Verona,
Yeah.
that we were very
Yeah.
high on in the preseason, and he's getting no time now.
I know, and when he's on the ice, he's doing very, very well. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's discussion for another day, but
Right. Well, we have a lot of good players that, we got to
yeah,
cycle through. And the thing is, it's hard for me to say because he's kind of a rookie, but he's an older rookie, but it's still, he needs playing time to
yeah,
develop, right? And his
yeah.
potential right
I
now is
will,
higher than Browns.
yeah. And I know we're not quite there yet, but jumping ahead, when we are playing speedier teams, we need Vrana on the ice. But we can talk about that more later because
Right.
we're not done with this game yet.
Yeah, let's talk about this empty net goal here by Alexander Ovechkin. Oh, there he goes. So Ovi just throws it from deep. But I was talking to our friend Tim, who's often on the show. He said his brother was actually at the game. He lives in Seattle, and said that the whole game, that even the home fans were rooting for an Ovechkin goal. That they seemed to
Really?
more about that than their own team. And so
Wow.
supposedly they got very excited when they got this goal to make it 3-0. So it seems like the fans there were there for one reason. It was not necessarily to see Seattle win.
Okay.
So I thought that was an interesting little tidbit that I would pass along. And as Gil puts on this thing, we're 20 away from the record, which is wild how
Insane.
quickly it's jumping up. And yeah, it's just some
Yeah,
incredible
well,
stuff.
we've got tickets for, hold on, let me get to the schedule. The 18th. Hold on, not that schedule. Back.
But while you look that up, Gil, what were
Yeah,
some
go ahead.
on this one?
Yeah, it was it kind of baffles me what the call here. Sometimes they put them on the ice, sometimes they don't when they have an empty net situation, but it was a defensive zone faceoff. If you can see the replay, and Ovechkin just happens to be along the boards, and probably the best guy you want along the boards. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
Chikrin and Van Riemsdyk get along the boards with the intent
Yep.
to clear, and then Ovi just takes his shot, and well,
And it
you
goes.
kind of want him and or need him out there because he is the best shooter on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So why
Yeah,
not
and there was a
take
lot
aim
of
at the
time
net?
left too in that game.
Yeah, the Kraken decided to pull their goalie early. I mean, they were down 2-0 at this point. They decided to go the Patrick Waugh route, and with about 4 minutes left in the game, they pulled the cord,
Yeah.
try and get something going, but it obviously backfired on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so incredible that he has the ability to score goals from the other blue line, though. It's just, that takes a lot of skill to be able to hit it from that far.
Yeah.
Regardless, there's
And he
two
makes it
guys
look
on him.
easy. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
he's just shooting it. It's like he's not even trying, or he makes it look like he's not trying.
Especially with that curved blade, like it's not
Yeah.
easy to make it go straight. Like I don't like
Yeah.
from that sort of distance, right? Like I don't know. It's just some pretty people make it sound like, oh, it's another empty net goal. Well, all the other people on the ice can't seem to
Yeah,
do it. So it's not, I don't know,
yeah,
like why
Yeah.
you're like,
Well, yeah.
uh, at the same time, they also have two people on him, so someone should maybe get the puck. I don't know, but it's how you play the game. So, All right. With that, we're gonna switch over to the Vancouver game. Unfortunately, this game does not go as well for us, but we did have a special guest who I was trying to get on the show tonight, but she's actually at a birthday dinner right now. But she was nice enough to send us some footage, and so after we go over our only goal in this game, I will show some shots, not necessarily in order because I don't know the order, but I wanted to show some of her view from the game. But Gil, why don't you break down the single goal that we got in this one?
So yeah, this game was disappointing. Caps got away from their usual gameplay, which was crowding the net. And well, as you can see, once they decided to do that here, they get the results. Protus on the wing there, and then yeah, well, this is what happens when you crash the net. Then yeah, you the lesson here: crash the net, go to the net, and I don't care how many you pile. Oh, look, there's Frankie Louvu flying in. To help out. But yeah, I mean, crowd the net, put bodies in front. Doesn't matter if it's a pile up or anything like that. You'll get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah, welcome
Yeah.
on Dreaming Truth and Low Bay Sky. I appreciate you both for joining us. Let's give you guys a little shout out. But
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of didn't watch the third period of this game because after about the first 10 minutes, it's like the Caps, I don't know what happened. They were playing fantastic for like the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden,
yeah,
Quinn Hughes scored, and it just kind of went all downhill from there. So,
yeah, and then Quinn Hughes scored again.
yep,
He scored both
a
of
minute
it.
and 24 seconds into the second period.
Yeah,
Stop us if you've heard that before.
right.
Let's
So
go.
I'll be honest, I fell asleep waiting for the game to start. So I woke up to 5 seconds remaining and kind of a furious, like they were trying for it at the end because it was like 2-1 and they almost pulled it off. There is an incredible goal. I was trying to record it, but I didn't get a chance to get it all downloaded. But it was Charlie made this crazy diving save that people are saying should be his tops card, the picture from it because he's got this incredible like dive across the whole ice to make a save, which was kept it a 2-1 game, and at the time was very important. And they did fight in the end, which I like to see. It wasn't their goalie was up to the task, we'll say. He had 32 saves on 33 shots against.
Yeah,
Like Lekkonen, right?
Lankinen.
Lankinen. I gotta say though, for the majority of the game, they kind of made it easy on him. There were some high danger chances, but they were scattered and few and far between, and they really didn't press until well, as you can see here in this goal and the time. I would say the last 10 minutes, the last 9-10 minutes of the game, Caps really woke up and ratcheted up the pressure, but by then it was just too late.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm looking at the stats here. Our penalty kill was good again. They were able to stop both power plays. They were only able to generate 2 power plays too, so a relatively clean game with only 6 penalty minutes aside. And they out hit us 26-15, which I always find frustrating because I feel like yeah, we don't have to win that battle, but you'd also don't want to lose it too badly, right? If it's close at least, I think that's better. And
Yeah.
just means that we're doing more in the forecheck. The other team blocked 19 shots to our 15. But we did win the face-off game, which is something that is sort of rare for us at times.
Yeah.
So I will take that. And here, let me just show you a couple of shots that we've got from Janaea Talked Caps. So she was right behind the goal
Lankinen.
here. Yeah. So this is kind of a cool shot in perspective. Great view from behind the ice. I have to say, when I'm usually behind a goalie like that, it doesn't bode well for our team. So I've been there before. So some more live action here. And there's this one as well. So yeah, some
Nice.
some nice shots here. And so yeah, she wishes she could be on here, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of like we've got a reporter, from the game. And so I'm happy that she got to have a relatively good game. I know it's tough to go to a loss, but she's been to almost all the games in recent memory. And I wanted to say that we'd beaten them like 4 or 5 times in a row in Vancouver or something like that. So she's had a pretty good run on it, for sure. And so here's the last shot, I think. And yeah, so here's some pictures of the grade 8, and then she really liked the sign as well.
Cool.
So she wants this as well. So um, but yeah, any final thoughts you guys have on this game, and then we'll switch gears and talk about the week ahead.
Just
I'm not. Oh, go ahead, Deal.
I was just going to say, just another frustrating game. The effort was there. You can't really say it was it was, but for some reason they got away from their game plan. And again, the one time they went back to what has been working for them, they were successful. So it just makes you wonder. The only explanation I can come up with is they were shifting lines. The McMichael was, flip-flopping between the top two lines the whole game. So that might have played a part in it. But other than that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Gil. It's just was frustrating, especially since they played so well the last couple of games. And they were on a 5-game. They won 5 games already. So, but I mean, coming out of this road trip, and I know we still have one more game, tomorrow night, I think, out west. I mean,
One more out west and then one in Ottawa, and then they come back home.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling we were going to come out of this probably at 500, 2-2. So I'm not too upset about it because, like you said, the effort was there. They just got away from the game plan. I mean, on paper anyway, if you look at it, I mean, they had 33 shots on goal, the hits, the block shots, the giveaways. The giveaways weren't great, but all in all, so far I'm pretty happy with this road trip. So we'll just have, on to the next one, right?
Yeah, and we would won 6 in a row.
6 in a row.
Yeah,
until then. Yeah.
Until that moment. So I mean, it's a good run. And I think sometimes having losses and strategic times are important as well, to know that, hey, we weren't playing this it that well, if you think about it, right? Like, we were winning, but we were getting lucky in some of these games, and our goalie was bailing us out in a lot of them. So I don't know. So
That's true.
It's hard to sometimes actually getting a loss, because then they have stuff to go over and practice, right? It's a little easier to be like, hey, this is why we lost. This is what we got to tighten up. Versus if you're winning and getting away with stuff, I think it's harder to have some of those messages sink in a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, Gil?
I mean, you can look at the standings and be happy, but as was pointed out to me recently, this kind of a string can easily be reversed. A lot of other teams have experienced that so far this year, and all it takes is a really bad injury or a run of bad play, and you can find yourself on the opposite end. But it's not luck. They've played very, very well, but I'm still kind of in wait for the other shoe to drop mode. But I guess the other side of that coin is they managed to bank points and win, or at least show well when, even when they're not playing well. So as long as they're making it work, my fear is that, at a critical time, such as the playoffs, their scoring will abandon them. And if that happens, you're screwed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you, Robbie, about when you're winning and doing well, it's harder to pick apart what needs to be worked on. And as a coach, I see that a lot in my kids, But on the flip side too, you have a kid who's not doing well and he's doing everything he can to improve, but he's doing it the wrong way. You need to steer them in the right direction, and they, so it's a kind of a double-edged sword, if you will, because here you've got this team. We've won 5, 6 in a row. We're doing great. And then we lose one. Okay, well, why did we lose it? It's easy to see. Okay, well, we didn't do this, and this, the other. We had 33 shots in this game and lost. How did we lose with 33 shots? How did that happen?
It's just funny because we were winning with 14 shots and
right. We won the game before
right,
the game before with 14 shots. How does this happen? So you need to look at the whole picture to figure it out. But like Gil said, is it sustainable? Is this type of play picking and choose? It's almost like when we had the low shots, they're picking and choosing their shots. But like you said, in the playoffs, is that going to be sustainable? Is that going to be enough for us to keep moving on? I mean, thank God that we've got Thompson and Lindgren to help bail us out. But on the other hand, the defense needs to step up a little more in those cases too. If we're not making those shots, our defense better be backing up that goalie and not relying on that goalie to bail us out all the time. So
I agree.
You gotta figure out that balance, right?
Yeah, Benson said an interesting statement. It seems like if we shoot less, we're a little bit more focused on making them good shots. And so I think that there is something to be said about that it's not necessarily a volume thing, although Gretzky always said, you can't score without shooting, right? So like
you're gonna miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. So I agree with that we need to have, there's got to be a balance, right? But it does have to be shots with the idea of a rebound or shots with people out in front, so that way, that they're not just easy in the middle of the breadbasket saves.
Right.
Holy shit. It's 80-43. It just keeps getting worse.
Oh gosh.
I knew it would be bad when I put it in the description, so never put Wizards in the show notes because every time I have, it's been brutal, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. But yeah, it's been very rough. But Gil, what are your thoughts going into this Flames game?
Well, this is going to be an interesting test. These next two games, the next three games actually, but these next two games, the Caps happen to be playing opponents that are fighting for their playoff lives. This is going to sound really, really strange, but a lot of teams closer to the bottom of the table, they've pretty much started their playoff run. Caps need to realize that they have a target on their back right now, being at the top of the league, top of their own division. So they are going to get the other team's very, very best. So as was pointed out to me again by this week's guest on our most recent episode. So I mean, watch for that. Watch for these teams playing lockdown hockey and coming at us with their best these coming weeks, because it's going to happen. And the Caps would be wise to kind of start to ramp things up as if they were in the playoffs. Probably not a bad place to be, even with a break coming up in the next few weeks.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Before we get into the last couple of games, Gil, I know that you had a special guest, and we haven't talked about it yet on this show. Let people know who you had on your show this week.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag this week, even though it's our episode's recorded, but it's still in post-production. I do apologize for that. I will get that out as soon as I can. But this week's episode, I have Dan Holme from the Locked On Capitals podcast, and also the Caps Minute Cast podcast, as my very special guest this week. We break down the three games, and we go over a very significant event that just happened in the NHL that may have ripple effects towards our Capitals. And we talk about that as well. Very good guy. Great podcast. If you have a chance to listen to it, the only Caps podcast that's on every day, covers the team every day. I highly recommend it. But he's been kind enough to have me on his podcast several times, so I thought I'd return the favor. And with the Caps playing the way they have been, I kind of wanted him on because he's pretty good analyzing things. So we go back and forth on a few things, and yeah, I think if you're really into kind of trying to break down how the team goes, if you're more than a casual fan, I think this episode's for you. And again, I will get that out as soon as I can. I promise.
Excellent.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And welcome on in Tina French as well to chat. And thank you everyone for tuning in across all the different platforms. I did share it to the Power Play Point podcast room as well, and a couple of other ones. And well, I appreciate the lurking. It's been an interesting week for sure. C4, were you on your show this week, or are you taking a break?
I've missed the last couple because of various other commitments, and I'm actually going to miss the next couple of months because I've got I do a thing at church called Growth Club on Wednesday nights, but next week I will be on a cruise ship. So this week, next time I will be on a cruise ship, so I will definitely not be on next week's.
Where's the cruise ship? Now I'm interested.
I leave Saturday. We depart from Fort Lauderdale. We're going to Labadee, Haiti, and we're going to the Dominican Republic.
Nice. I was just thinking about the Dominican
Nice.
Republic. I've had a great trip there.
So, and then one of the excursions, we'll have an opportunity to do some snorkeling, which I haven't done since I went to Key West many years ago, but I'm looking forward to doing that.
That sounds familiar. I wonder which of our friends has done that recently.
That's exactly.
He does scuba. It's a little different.
Well, no, I do snorkeling as well with the kids because they can't scuba dive yet. So
Yeah.
I do both. But no, and snorkeling is just scuba diving without tanks. I mean, it's
That's
just
true.
you can't go as deep, but still you
No.
can see a lot of cool stuff. I'm a big fan of
Mm.
so
So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And then, like I said, for the next 6-8 weeks, Growth Club goes, I think, till the end of March. So I'll be and on Wednesday night. So unless Marcus records a different night, I won't be on for a little while, but it's okay.
right. I
They
have
don't need me.
I put a link in chat for anyone who wants the Sakurum's Capitals Off the Chain podcast.
On YouTube, yeah. And then they also do a prospect, what does he call it? Prospect showcase on Friday
Prospect
evenings.
showcase, yeah. That's mainly Marcus and I, and he's supposed to have somebody else as well. But what we've been doing on that is a mock draft. I think we're going to go for all 7 rounds. Don't know how that's going to work out because I only know maybe 100 prospects myself off the top of my head.
He knows, he'll
I
know them
know
all.
he's probably going to run the table on that.
That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually popped in and out on Friday night from the track meet last week, so
Yeah, it's going to be fun, but yeah, it's anyone who wants a preview of how the Caps draft, well, the draft in general, but how the Caps draft may go, might want to catch that.
Yeah, that'll be Friday night. He records that and then posts it, right? He doesn't do that live.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure that's not live.
And I think he's planning a live stream some point in the next few weeks, but I'm not sure when.
It's usually when the Caps have a nationally televised game.
Yeah.
That he does that.
That's cool. Yeah, that way he doesn't have to listen to the commentator.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know.
I don't blame him. I feel the same way. All right, let's take a quick look. We got about 5 minutes left of the last 2 games. Oh, I didn't get C4. Your thought on the Calgary game?
Calgary, yeah, like Gil said, these are teams that are fighting for their lives, and we cannot take them lightly. We have to play these games the way, like you said, start playing like we're getting ready for the playoffs, because if we want to go anywhere, that's what we got to do. And I mean, they are winnable games, assuming we stick to the plan. So we'll wait and see what happens. At least they're earlier than the last 3. So
yeah, this game will be a 9 o'clock game for a start time. Calgary, in their last couple, they lost to Winnipeg, but beat Minnesota, Buffalo, and Winnipeg. As sort of looking at their last 4, where they're coming from, going into this game. Again, this game will be live tomorrow, Tuesday, January 28th, at Calgary at 9. And then on Thursday, 2 days later, we're slowly getting closer to our time zone and going to Ottawa. That's back to a 7 o'clock start. And Ottawa, the last couple of games, they were able to beat Utah on Sunday, beat Toronto on Saturday, lost to Boston at Boston on Thursday, and then going back to last week, they lost to the Rangers 5-0 on Tuesday. So kind of strange that they lost to the Rangers in Boston so badly, and then were able to win in Toronto and Utah. But they've had a bunch of days between Sunday and then to Thursday. It's a big rest for Ottawa. I don't know if that'll help or hurt them, but we did beat them on Thursday, January 16th, a couple of weeks ago, a 1-0 game. So you know they're going to want revenge. That was in Washington, this game.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, that game was also in Ottawa. Never mind, but they lost that 1-0. And
have we played Calgary yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, we have not.
Gil, what are your thoughts on Ottawa and their up and down last couple of weeks?
Lather, rinse, repeat, same thing. And they've got Ottawa probably has a bit more toughness to them. Well, you saw what happened in the first game. It's probably going to be a lot more of the same. They've got a unique combination of toughness and speed. Caps better be ready for that, or this might end up being a loss, because they're starting to gel. They're starting to find themselves, find their game, and they really, really, really want to make the playoffs this year. So yeah, this is it's going to be very interesting if they're even a smidge unprepared. The Caps are. This is going to be one for the L column.
Because that game went into overtime.
Yes,
we won it 1-0 in overtime.
There's only one goal in that game, and it took Ovi to do it. So, yeah, they need to figure something out.
Yeah, and like you said, that we have a hard time against those teams with speed. We need to find the right players. I mean, Frank's got speed, Vrana's got speed, but who do you put him in for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got some tough choices.
Yeah. So,
going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And the last game is going to be against the Winnipeg Jets. And so that's on Saturday, February 1st, as we turn the calendar. And
yes. I believe you're going to that game, right, Will?
I are. Yes, Marcus and I will be at that game, live and in person.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the .com era Caps bobblehead night is the promotion there. But yes, Marcus and I will be at that game ourselves.
Nice. So we'll get some live pictures to asperse them there, and some video as well. And that way we'll have 2 weeks in a row. We'll have live content from games in the third game also, both weeks. So that's kind of cool. And I'm going to talk to either Janaea or talk to Anna about coming on next week. Hopefully I'll get one of them to join us. C4, how long are you away for? Just curious.
I will be coming back home on the 7th, which is Friday.
Cool.
I think.
Nice.
Yeah, the ship departs the 2nd, and I think we're back on we come back into port on the 7th, so we'll be home that night.
Nice. All right. Any final thoughts on Winnipeg before we move on and end this segment?
Well, they're top of the standings in the West.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another tough game.
Yeah, but we've beaten them before, so
I think they've got a good chance, but they've also got one of the top goalies in the league.
That's true.
So that's going to be
right. That's his name.
That's going to be interesting as well. No, it could go either way, but I like that these games provide a test for this team, and it's. You said double-edged sword before, C4, but it's also it also can be a good thing all around. If they win, they bank points. If they lose, they learn something. They get something out of it. They're if they can figure something out, how to improve their play against these teams that are hungrier.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll serve them well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think they're going to have a harder time with Calgary and Ottawa than they will with Winnipeg, just because of where everybody is in the standings. I mean, yes, Winnipeg wants to stay at the top, so do we. So we're going to play, but we can't take these other teams that are trying to get closer to the top for granted. So I quite frankly, I think we're actually gonna have a harder time. But I mean, they're all winnable games. I think we get points in all of the games, whether we end up with 6 points, 5 points, 4 points, whatever. But 3 points. I think probable we will get points in all. Well, it's possible we'll get points in all games. Probability of winning them all. I'm more optimistic about them getting a points than winning all three. But
Yeah, as long as they're banking points, they're keeping some sort of momentum. So
yeah,
that's the goal here.
and quite honestly, I don't want the President's Trophy.
No,
Winnipeg can have it.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't think too many Caps fans want that.
So, I mean, the occasional loss is not going to make me too upset.
No, it's not. As long as they keep up a level of play in those losses, and for the most part, they have been. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you want them to
yeah.
keep developing, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Good habits, things that you can build on, things that just like the Commanders did, as a segue to our next thing, they played in a lot of close games that I thought really bode well for them when they came to the playoffs, and they were able to, as long as they could keep it close, win some of those games, right? The last one was sort of the exception, but overall, winning the puck possession and turnover battles, it's very similar, playing a smart game and not allowing, too many shots on goal and, making your shots count, right?
It's scary. It is scary how well how much these two franchises or the teams on the playing surface mirror each other. It really is.
Yeah.
It is interesting for sure. All right, with that, we're going to actually probably segue into our coverage. We got Champ and Sith on the line. And thank you, Gil and C4. Have the best trip. C4, we'll talk to you when you come back. And Gil, we'll see you next week with footage from the game and with Marcus as well. And we'll have a guest of either Anna or Janaea or just the two of us, either way. But I'm sure we'll have a good discussion next week as well. Thank you both for being a part of it, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
As always, a pleasure.
And pleasure.
Thank you. I'll try and send pictures, and I'll see you guys when I get back.
Sounds good. Have the best time.
Thank you.
Night, guys.
All right, night. So I'll put the Gills command, one more time in there, and also put C4's command as well. If anybody wants to go follow the Circurum Off the Chain podcast or check out the Power Play Point podcast, all the links are there. I'm going to switch over to our NFL logo as well, and welcome in Dan the Sith Lord, and as well as Champ in just a moment. Sith, while I got you on the line, it's been an interesting Raw so far. I don't know if you've been watching it on the and we just had an interesting promo that was just cut. That I
wasn't referring to Roman Reigns. I was referring to your boy CM Punk. I'm like,
we got a big time match between Sami Zayn right now. McIntyre. So that's the match that's currently on Raw. But they've had some good matches all night long. And in a little bit, after we talk a bit of football, I do want to get your thoughts on the Saturday night main event that I thought was an interesting event this weekend as well. And with that, we have Champ on as well. How are you doing, Champ?
I'm here. I was trying to look something up before I got on here, but didn't have enough time, so it is what it is.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm happy to see you. Yeah, it's been an interesting week for us Commanders fans. We'll start with that, and we'll talk a little bit about the other football game, and as well as talk about some of this wrestling in addition to that as well. Seth, I'll start with your thoughts on this game. It was a rough one. I was hoping it would be a little bit closer and a little bit more exciting. And I don't know what to make of it. Some people are like, we really shot ourselves in the foot. In my opinion, the Eagles really forced a lot of those turnovers. It's not like we were just dropping the ball, right? They really punched it out and really played some smart defense and really smart offense as well. Dan, do you think that it was more of us beating ourselves, or the Eagles really had a good game plan, or how do you see this one?
I see it as a little bit of both. I was texting with a friend of mine, and she was 7 seconds ahead of me because I have Xfinity. She has Fios on where she lives. So we're texting back and forth throughout the game on my phone. Both of us have iPhones. So we're both texting back and forth, and she's a big fan and everything. She prefers the old name McCordon and whatever. And I kept thinking, Philly's playing strong defense, and it's getting our offense off the field, which means it wears our defense down. And it's something that Champ, CP, Hurt, Robbie, and I have said all year, as well as Arun and others, which is the longer your defense can't rest up on the sidelines because your offense can't have sustained drives, the more beaten they are. And the more beaten they are, the more points get given up. So it was a combination of costly mistakes, and we could blame officiating if you want. Here's the key stat: 28 points off those turnovers. You take away that 28, it's a 4-point game, and God only knows what happens. They have a message to the lapsed fans that came out and said the team choked. Get out. We don't need you here. We have a lot of people that stood by this team through thick and thin that aren't willing to come out and die on a hill saying that this team choked. No one expected the team to get this far at all, and they did. So even though I was very upset last night after the game, matter of fact, I watched clips of Kansas City Buffalo, didn't watch the whole game because I decided about a third of the way through, I'm like, fuck it, I'm putting on a movie. I decided to tell people that this was we're way ahead of schedule where it comes to rebuilding. Jaden Daniels had his rookie of the year, offensive and rookie of the year overall, according to the media. I dare anyone to say that we choked. If you said we're choked because we're not going to the Super Bowl, I have no words. None.
No, I think I agree with that assessment. It's hard because for me, it would only have been, I think it would have been almost easier to lose to the Lions or to the Rams or to anybody else. It's the fact that it's a rival and that I have so much friends and family on the other side of this rivalry, and so I went to college in Philly. I have a lot of family from Philly, so I would say of the four teams, I feel closest to the Eagles fans, right? In the sense of like have a lot of, we've had a lot of back and forth. And when I went to college, they went, to the Super Bowl and lost to Tom Brady and that cheating, one, right? So it's been an interesting relationship with Eagles fans, especially because I have a lot of family that are there. And I think I'm gonna root for them over the Kansas City. I just can't root for a three-peat. And it would mean that we lost to the best, which my dad's always been very true to this, that you want our division to do the best and you want to do the best in your division. And then it proves that we were in the hardest division, which I don't know if anyone can even question it now, right? Because, there's all this talk about the NFC, North, and who was there at the end, right? So,
Yep.
And I don't know. Do you think there would have been? I'll ask Champ this question to get Champ involved here. Do you think there would have been a difference if we had won the division and this game was in Washington, or do you think that Philly was going to come out and do this either way?
It's kind of hard to say, Robbie, honestly, because of the fact that, and I got to hang out with CP3 at his crib for the game. Shout out to CP3; he'll be joining us shortly. And even he was a little bit, he was very hesitant about us taking the ball first, even Eagles deferred, but he still was he didn't like the call of us getting the ball first, even though we had a very long sustained drive of 18 plays that went like half the quarter. But we only came away with 3 points. I don't know if it would have been different had we been in DC. I don't know if it would have been different at all. It's kind of hard to say. I think that the difference, though, with this game and the game we had in Week 16 was, even though we had 2 more turnovers in that game, we didn't give up as many points off those turnovers as we did against them this go around. That game, I think that game we had 5 turnovers, but we didn't give up 21 points off those turnovers. I think we had like maybe 9 at the most. If I'm not, I was trying to look that up, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
But this game, Sith said 28. It was actually 21 points off those turnovers, not 28. But when you're giving them 3 extra possessions and they're able to score touchdowns off those possessions, you're not going to come back. That's why they were able to come back against them Week 16, was because even though they gave up the ball, the defense held strong and didn't allow them to score any touchdowns. Whereas on this go around, and what also exposed this team was our run defense. Our run defense has been suspect all year long, and this game was the one game where it got exposed in the worst way possible. To sum it up, if you are a Commanders fan and you're not A, disappointed, B, sad, C, mad, or D, all of the above, were you really a fan? Because I know me, I was disappointed more so because, and I said this on Final Thoughts on episode 271 that's out right now on Spotify and Amazon Music, that my father, before his passing, only got to see mediocrity from this team. They finally stood up and showed that they could be an elite level team, and he isn't here for it. And I think that's what's more heartbreaking for me, is that my father wasn't here to see them play in an NFC Championship game with a rookie quarterback who no one thought was going to be this good. This team exceeded every single expectation that can be put out there. New head coach, new owner, new GM, new coaching staff, second overall pick rookie quarterback who just won a Heisman that nobody really thought about because everybody thought that Caleb Williams was the second coming of Jesus Christ. And look where he is. He's been sitting on the couch for the last several weeks. No one believed in this team except for the diehards. That's why the slogan that Rev T came up with that everybody started to adopt was, why not us? We are pretty set for the next 5 years, and CP3 is going to expound upon all of that when he gets on here. I'm not going to steal my man's thunder like that, but
no.
Talking to him and the points that he's made, we are pretty set for the next few years. We are in a good spot.
I just hope that we're like
few years.
Where the Eagles were, right? And they were built on it versus the Lions, who they make it to the championship game and then they get everything going right for them the next year and then they regress. Because I do hope that we use this money wisely. We shore up our run defense, because if we could have stopped the run game, that would have been a difference in this game for sure. And but we have to be lucky with injuries. We have to be lucky with a lot of things, and it's tough to get back here. I like the thought process. This is just the beginning, but it's just, you never know. We were a bunch of misfits that everyone counted out. People aren't going to look past us ever again in the same way, right? It's
this is how exposed our run defense got, Robbie. 229 yards rushing as a team, 6 touchdown rushes. Well, 7 touchdown rushes, 3 from Saquon, 3 from Hurts, and 1 from Shipley, who came in late in the fourth quarter and got his touchdown.
Yep. And Troy Evans on Facebook is saying that 3 Commanders are going to the Pro Bowl, and that Bobby Wagner just got selected as well. So.
Yeah, Zach Bond, because of the fact the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, he's now out of the Pro Bowl, and Bobby Wagner's now in, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I was sad that we lost, but I was really upset at the fact that we just had costly errors, not stopping Philly's run game, which is potent as all get. But what this did, though, was it told management and ownership okay, we have 80 plus million cap to play with in free agency and the draft. We need to shore up, as Champ said, our run defense. We need to beef up the O line a bit. And I think this team is set for the next several years, absolutely. But my big feat and something to look forward to is we're all sad, upset, angry, etc., which is all fine and well. We need to be. This is the first time in a very long time where people are saying, I'm going to go to Washington. This is very reminiscent of Green Bay in the 90s, the Detroit Pistons in the 80s, where before they hit big, Green Bay with their second renaissance and the Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Lambeer, etc., no one wanted to go to those cities. Matter of fact, Isaiah Thomas did an interview when he was making the rounds to doing media, and he was interviewed by the GM and president of the Pistons at the time. And he was so passive aggressive that the guy stood by, went to him and said after the interview, look, you're on that draft board, I'm drafting you. Because he was doing his best to BS his way and just play in Chicago his hometown. He didn't want to go to Detroit. But it got to a point where people wanted to land in these cities. And when I look at Washington and the buzz that's coming out of this season, you've got free agents that this is reminding me of the 80s when I was growing up, in the early 90s when I was in high school, where free agents wanted to come to DC because the team was that good. Ownership was awesome. Front office, coaching, everything down the line.
I
It's
can't
like what I've
believe
said.
I can't believe the culture shift happened this fast. I mean, I honestly was sitting here
Yeah.
2 weeks ago thinking no one's ever going to want to come to us. You know what I mean? Like it's so much has changed in 2
Zach
years.
Ertz even went on record and saying, "I'm not retiring. I want to come back here."
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
should tell you something.
Right. I agree. I think that they got to run it back for one more year. I mean, and you can tell that people are going to really care. Ooh, that's a great move by Sami Zayn.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, kick out. This is a good match here to sort of the climax of Raw. I love the look of the new Raw. I like the black ring and it just the dress of the referees. I don't know. I just think that it's like it looks totally different than all the other ones, which I think is kind of a nice, a change of pace, if you will. I just think that it gives almost like a PLE feel every Monday, which I thought is kind of I don't know. It's brought a lot of energy back to Raw in my book. So.
I told my nephew before he went to bed that I helped raise. I told him, I said, this feels every night, every Monday night Raw feels like a UFC fight night.
Yeah.
Because you've got that feel of a fight night, not just the advertisements, but the feel of the arena, the whole 9 yards. It feels like a big fight every Monday night. It makes you want to tune in live on Netflix if you ever really get streaming like I do and watch this live. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'm
then
really impressed by it. I do want to get some of your thoughts. I'm not gonna get into the second game because you said you only watched parts of it. I only watched parts of it and stuff like that. I'm really pissed the Kansas City won. I was really hoping for Buffalo. Right? It's just no one wants to.
Cody just came to the ring.
Oh.
Go, Cody Cutter.
Nice.
So
I did watch some of that. I did watch some of that Chiefs game, Chiefs and Bills.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about it after? Let's talk about the Saturday night fight since we have Sith on, and then you and I can talk about it after the CP3 segment.
Yes.
And if CP3 wants to talk about it.
Yeah, because I opted to watch Alien Romulus on Blu-ray and had a blast last night. So
yeah, Alien Romulus is such a great movie. I love that movie.
It was one of my early birthday gifts. So
yeah. No, I was really impressed by that one. For sure. Especially the ending. I did not see that coming.
And Robbie, I need to send you the teaser for Alien Earth that dropped earlier. That dropped yesterday. Oh my God.
Ooh, yeah, definitely.
Your dad's gonna love it. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Let's talk about Saturday fight. And it was an interesting card. I'll let Sith give his first takes on it, and then I want to get Champ's take as well.
Jesse Ventura continues to be a national treasure ever since my fucking childhood and adolescence. He needs to be protected at all times. I, he brought up Steiner, man. He's like, he's 2 + 2 = 5. He's a Steiner. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
No, all kidding aside, though, the same quips that I had about the first episode of the reboot I had here, which was something I told the champ in our group chat, as well as Donnie Wrestling. Shout out to him. He's a good dude too. No more than 3 to 4 minutes into a match, bam, right into commercial. It's like, we need to do this. But to go 5 minutes into a match and cut the commercial, and on top of that, opening the show with the dialogue issues where you had the Spanish announcers talking on top of Cole and McAfee, it's just, whew, it was a weird start to the show, but overall, it was a good show, though.
Yeah, I think they needed to, if they're gonna have so many commercials and it's on broadcast television, do more of the split screen or have ads take up different parts of the screen and just let the action. People would rather watch it and subliminally see the ads, right? Like than just, be constantly broken up by them. But I don't know, especially because they do that in other sports and other situations more, and so I think there's a precedent to be had there. Champ, what are some of your thoughts on it?
It was a really good show. No surprise that no championships changed hands. I was not expecting any championships to change hands, but I really enjoyed seeing Jacob Fatu turn into an absolute menace. The way that he beat up Braun Strowman, like he's just a freaking menace. That's that guy. That guy's a menace. Like when I seen that promo where he said he's going to dog walk somebody's ass, I knew he was a menace. And then he comes to WWE and he's just even more of a menace. And that was a really good post match angle of him taking out Braun Strowman, was supposed to be the monster of all monsters, and the fact that he took him out gives that man a lot more legitimacy because of the fact that Braun is a former Universal Champion, a former tag champion. He's the man who won the greatest Royal Rumble ever. Like the man has accomplishments, and Jacob Fatu went out and dog walked him. And so that gives him a lot of legitimacy as a threat to anybody who comes up against him and Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. But overall, it was really nice. Of course, like I said, the only reason why we did the live reactions to the first Saturday night's main event because it was the first the reboot, but I just don't foresee doing any more of those because of the fact that they're just commercial heavy because they're on NBC, and it's not conducive to something like just sitting on a stream. It's just the two of us and there's a commercial every 15 minutes. It just there's nothing going on. There's not really much to talk about. I mean, well, Sif can find something to talk about. He loves to hear his voice. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm just saying, like, it's just the way it's set up Saturday night's main event, it's really hard to live stream react to it, unlike a PLE where the only commercials that are on is like on Peacock after a match. Like after a match is done, then they go to a commercial if you don't have Peacock Premium Plus. At which point then, someone like myself, I can go and use the bathroom while Sif sits here and just talks about whatever 80s reference he wants to make and stuff like that. But either way, it is what it is. I can't wait for WWE 2K25 to come out. I might actually get that shit.
Oh, and that reminds me. In our group chat that I had with Champ and Donnie, the crowd was chanting Fatu, 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 Fatu. I was like, he's going to turn babyface. He's getting babyface reactions already. He's going to tell Solo at some point, I'm sick of your shit. He's going to turn babyface and he's going to go on one hell of a tear. And speaking of live reactions, this weekend, my birthday weekend, we got 2 of them, Champ. we've got the live stream of the pod plus Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Nice.
Right.
And there's a caveat to the Rumble. There will be a gifted sub. Yes, that's guaranteed. But I've thrown this out. I'm going to say it here on the pod before I embark to get some shut eye. If Masha Slimovich enters the Women's Royal Rumble, your TNA Knockouts champion, I will give the sub. And if Champ and I get a wish that we have been begging for, if Joe Hendry shows up with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, I will also give the sub. So there's a possibility. There's one guaranteed, but there's a possibility 2 other gifted subs on my birthday weekend.
Wow. Well, happy
Why
early
is CM
birthday.
Punk coming out here? What the hell is he doing?
Yeah,
Hey,
I was wondering that.
Let that Bama cook.
Yeah. Cody does not seem very pleased by
I
this.
wonder what's on his mind. And I have a question for the 2 of you before I go.
Mm-hmm.
Let us do a little speculating between us, friends and family here. What do y'all think is the favor that Punk told Paul for Punk to be in War Games?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think it's down the line. If Roman wins the title, Punk gets a title shot.
Interesting.
Yeah. His Pepsi pills on the stick.
Is Punk gonna be in the Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Yeah, he's already in.
Yeah. So that might be an interesting angle. For sure. I kind of want to know what he's saying right now.
I do too.
Got my captions on.
I almost
Here,
want to mute the mic just to hear what he's saying.
Well, I will tell y'all this. The Basement that just came out yesterday is the best film for every year of my life. Holy crap, that was a long recording to do in several. And I couldn't do it in segments, so it was a case of like, oh shit, trying to get it all done. This coming Sunday, though, Robbie's gonna love this. The worst movies of all time. And I start off with the top 5 worst movies of last year. Robbie, we're not done using open domain yet. We're not done with that yet. I want you to keep that in mind because I saw Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare and okay. But one of the films in my top 5 worst of last year is a case of something that became a part of open domain, which means anyone can get it. It's in the public domain. And someone decided, I'm going to make a slasher out of this. And thank God it wasn't in theaters on PVOD. I was totally dumbfounded. I thought that one of my top 5 from 2023 was bad. This film that's in my top 5 worst made one of the films from 2023 look like The Godfather. That's sad.
So the Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's the same one that's in, wasn't there like a Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
First, right? I never saw that movie. Did you ever see that one?
I saw the first Blood and Honey. Hated it. And I swore to myself, and I said it on the basement, I'm not seeing the second one because of what the producers and the writers were doing to people that didn't like the movie. Well, cooler heads prevailed, and they all got together and sang Kumbaya. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll go see it. And part 2 was actually better. Now you're getting into this Neverland Nightmare, which is going to lead into Bambi and Sleeping Beauty. And then you're going to get a huge Monsters Assemble thing. They're taking advantage of these ideas of, this is hitting the public domain. Let's do this. I don't mind it because you got to bear in mind, I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 because it's funny as shit. It's people going, all right, y'all didn't get my sense of humor in the first one, like I said you were supposed to. So we're going to make your course correct. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of these in this series, but it is.
It's not for the weak of heart. it's like what I said on the pod. It's cheesy fun to watch these films, but it's also a bit jaundiced and cynical. Just like I enjoyed Terrifier 3, but it didn't make the top 5 of this past year. But I also know that with the Christmas slasher, it's either going to rub you this way or rub you the other way. It's very hit or miss, you know.
This promo is really interesting.
Oh,
yeah, it's very. I just don't understand. I don't
I've got the
understand.
captions on.
I've been reading it, but I was just like, why is he? I don't.
It's like two friends having a conversation. That's how this promo is out. It's like you're gonna have to watch this on demand to really understand it. But from what I'm hearing, it's like two friends having a conversation. It's like CM Punk's trying to be that friend. Like, listen, you don't want to go down the path I went down when I was a champion type deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where he's
It's
at
like
with it.
Champ telling me, bruh, you don't need to go see this movie. You can stay home.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you don't listen to me anyway.
But all kidding aside, though, you know, and I will be back next season for the next Commander season.
Yeah, nice.
I'm a bitch, I'm in.
I appreciate it. I mean, that's a good way to sort of put a bow on your segment, is to think that for 9 years you've been coming and chatting with me, from when it was just a call-in show to being able to do face-to-face now with you, and get to watch wrestling live and this basketball game. I'm not even gonna call it a good one, but
Oh,
but
that's
it's
my friend.
yeah, it's 123.
I think your dad would agree with me on that one.
Yeah,
That the
but
Wizards are a sleep aid.
it's been really good. It's I'm happy to have you back into the fold. I know it had been a little bit of time before since we had you been a regular on the show, and I'm so happy that you're back. And I love what you're doing on the No Spots podcast with Champ here, and I love the momentum that you're building over there as well. And it's a cool time to be a sports fan, and it's fun that we've gotten to do this together for all these years.
As I said, come September, excuse me, I plan on being back here for the regular season and chopping it up with you guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And if you find yourself wanting to cover in a couple of months, we also will cover the Defenders as well, and the XFL, which is fun. And Champ, I'd love to go to another game with you guys. I think that we should find another game for all of us to go to again. That was a lot of
Hell
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm down.
Hey,
So,
Yes.
Champ.
Yes.
They played the games the same arena that AW was in a couple of weeks ago.
No, they play at Audi Field where DC United plays.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, the Sports and Entertainment Center is far too small for football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Mystics play there, though.
Yeah, the Mystics played there, and that's also where Champ and Sage, shout out to Sage, good dude too. They're going to be going to NXT Vengeance Day, and it's also where they went to go see the New Japan shows as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for when is Vengeance Day? That's in February, right?
February 15th.
Yeah.
Day after Valentine's Day.
Champ, if you want to shoot some video or like little clips or pictures or whatever from that,
if I remember to do it, yeah.
Yeah, because
if I can remember to remind him, he'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that weekend, it's funny. I'm going to be seeing Captain America at like a 2:30 showing Thursday, then No Spots the next night, then live reactions, Solo Dolo to Vengeance Day.
Yeah. So actually, let me look at that. So that one is in February. Yeah. So we're coming back on the 17th. So it's President's Day is the episode for that one on the 17th. Yeah. So we will do a podcast that day. I will be totally honest. I will be in Texas at a wedding all weekend.
Oh, nice.
And that actually is Gil's birthday that day, also on the 17th. So we'll have to celebrate his birthday live on air. And I'm just making sure that I'm back in time for the show. I'm just double checking that right now. I actually haven't heard from CP3, so that segment might not be happening, which is fine. We can we have plenty of other things that we can talk about, including the other games. But I am coming back on Monday. Oh no, we will not be doing the show there.
Down
I,
is
I arrive at 11 o'clock at night on Monday, so I fly back on President's Day. All right, well that screws that plan up. So we will talk about it on the following week's show. If we can still show clips and stuff like that from that. Um, and we'll once we get closer, we'll talk about it. Possibly we might shift it to a Tuesday episode so we can celebrate Gil's birthday, even if it's a day late, and talk about it and stuff like that. So I'll let you guys know as we get a little bit closer to that on whether or not we will take a week off and go to the 24th, or if we end up doing a show one day later, which we've done before on this.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, champion seats are going to be at Vengeance Day. I know they're going to have a blast there because those guys, they've got, from what Champ showed, they got good seats for that one. Really good seats.
Yeah, we got
nice.
some really good seats, and I'm gonna tell you something. Like, people don't realize that DC is a much bigger wrestling town than most people give it credit for.
Yep.
And people are going to show up and they're going to show out, especially for the fact this is the first time for NXT. And so they're going to show up, they're going to show out, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and we get a lot of SmackDowns and Raws here as well. I feel like we get one every year.
You want to hear something funny, Robbie?
Yeah.
SmackDown's the night before at Capital One Arena.
I thought it was, yeah.
It is. Yep, it's the night before at Capital One Arena.
Wow, what a weekend for wrestling fans for sure. So
I remember back when Richmond was a stopover, but since the Coliseum isn't worth anything anymore, matter of fact, they're looking at possibly demolishing it because of asbestos and whatnot. People look at down here at VSU. WWE has done like weekend live shows down here at VSU, the Multipurpose Center. But for the most part, now in order to see WWE or AEW, you're either going to DC or you're going to Norfolk or you're going to Charlottesville. You're not going to Richmond right now because Richmond just doesn't have a really good arena to house live events where it comes to Raw, Raw and SmackDown or AEW Dynamite.
yeah,
I could tell AEW, hey, VSU Multipurpose Center seats 4,000 people. You guys could probably pack the place. But Tony Khan don't want to listen to that, though. He doesn't want to try anything new.
Sure.
Well, wait, he is with the mid-sized arenas, and it's really working out, though. I'll give him credit for that. And Champ, I need to know something from you. Timeless Tony, what do you think?
I'll tell you on Friday.
Oh, that.
I'll tell you on Friday.
Washington did break the 100 barrier, so they're at 105. Unfortunately, Dallas has 130 here with 35 seconds left in the game. So
Wizards couldn't give Robbie a birthday gift. They couldn't give Champ a birthday gift. They can't give me a birthday gift.
Yeah,
Go figure.
Yep. So, all right, with that, Seth, I will let you go. Thank you for all of the coverage this year. And if you end up wanting to watch the XFL and chatting with us about it, you are always welcome to come back anytime. And it's been really fun these last couple of months. And what a run for the Commanders.
What a run. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I will talk to you good people later. Y'all be safe and take care. We'll see you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you again, Sith. And for people who don't know, I'll do the Sith command here. You can always check out the basement. The link to the Spotify is there. It's also in our show notes. The last 4 episodes of our podcast is actually now up on. I had been a bit slow on getting them up, the audio for those, but obviously you can always watch it live as you are on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or on Kick. I have put up the last 4 episodes. 2 of them were the podcast episodes, and 2 of them were specials. the Saturday night specials that we did with Gil, and the last one I did with Champ and Gil, celebrating a Ravens victory followed by a Commanders victory. And I have to say, after tonight, I feel a lot better about yesterday. Just talking it out with you guys, I can feel pride in it. It sucks to lose to Dallas or to the Eagles. I saw a funny clip though of at the tailgate with all the Eagles fans and the Commanders fans all getting together, to root against Dallas and chants, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, we all can agree on one thing: Dallas sucks.
Yeah, so that was great. I was
Though the
so
Dallas
happy.
Mavericks don't suck. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah, for sure. And it was cool to see all the people that were Commanders fans show up in Philly. I mean, obviously, it was still more Eagles fans than Commanders fans in the stadium, but I saw pockets of red. It was more pockets of red than I feel like usually I see up there. And great things are coming. And I hope that we're able to use this money wisely. Our players are able to stay healthy, and we're able to make another big run next year. But I'm really excited that our offensive coordinator seems to want to stay with the team. A lot of the other jobs were filled. Dallas has made some terrible coaching hires, in my opinion. We'll see how that works out for them going forward. But there's nothing about what they were currently doing that I thought they should hire from within. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Champ?
I mean, it's clear that at this point, that senile old fool named Jerry Jones just doesn't give a rat's ass anymore. he don't give a crap anymore. That they didn't even bother to properly and fully vet actual candidates for that position. He just decides to promote from within someone that no one knows about to coach this freaking team. Like, it's just clear he don't care anymore. And Cowboys fans are even starting to get sick and tired of Jerry Jones.
At this point, if you're going to hire from within, you may as well wait it out, see what coaches are available after their season is done, because it's not like this guy was going anywhere, right? So, like, I don't know. It seems so crazy to me that it's crazy that the Bears were able to hire a better coach than them. Like that, just no one wants to go to Dallas. It's pretty obvious. But just pretty crazy to me. And how much money is tied up in their players and salary cap hell, and they're where we were, I think, like 5 or 6 years ago, I kind of feel. And maybe even worse. So it was interesting. So you did watch the AFC Championship game. I got the Bills a lot of credit. They hung in there. There was an opportunity at the end. I thought that they were just throwing it up on a prayer on fourth down. There's actually a guy there, and he ends up dropping it. But just, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of the logo predicted green and red teams. And it's just like, I don't like to believe in superstitions or bullshit like that, but like it keeps happening. And it's just, how can Kansas City win so many one possession games in a row? Like it's just, it's
I
hard.
will say this though, is that Kansas City threw out something that I didn't really see in a lot of their games this season, and that was using the zone read with Mahomes keeping it on a couple of times to get touchdowns. That was something that I didn't really see from them this season. So it seems like Andy Reid just pulled some stuff out of his ass and just started using it against the Bills to pull one out. But yeah, that prayer that Josh threw up when he was getting blitzed, and the man, it hit him on his arm and his hand and dropped. I was just like, oh, that's what's his name from a couple weeks ago with Baltimore all over again. From last week, Baltimore all over again. I was like, oh, dude, like you get paid to catch the football, bro. Like
I literally didn't even see him in the sea of humanity. I literally thought he was just throwing it, like not throwing it away with fourth down, but just like throwing it up for grabs. Like I didn't. The fact that he was able to see him in the maze and almost get there, the quarterback, just incredible play by him and under such duress. It's just so disappointing. I
I
wanted,
will say this: Buffalo fought though. I mean, they
yeah.
fought. They fought their asses off,
I feel like
and they were in
everyone's been
hustle.
fighting Kansas City. Like Kansas City hasn't had an easy game all year, I feel, in a lot of ways. Like almost all their games have been that way, even ones against teams that I don't think are at their level.
Yeah. But
And
no, Buffalo definitely fought. They had a couple really nice pass plays for touchdown, like that crazy catch he had. I think it was Shakir or someone that made that beautiful catch with the defender draped on him for
was
the
that the fourth
touchdown.
down one? Or there was one where they scored a touchdown on a fourth down, right? That was the tying one, or it tied at
I
20.
can't remember. It was just everything was just so crazy with that game that everything just melts together into one. And all I can just remember the plays. I don't remember what down and distance it was or what it was. I just know it was just crazy play after crazy play. And they just fought, and it was just really it was a much more entertaining game than I expected. And though I expected to be very entertaining because these two teams, when they face each other, it's always must see TV when you have Mahomes versus Josh Allen. But this one was a very much entertaining one because you know that the majority of the country outside of Missouri were rooting for Buffalo to beat KC, so it would be Buffalo Philly for the Super Bowl, where Buffalo can have a chance for their first ever, and Philly will have their chance for their second. But now it's the storyline all week, or for the next 2 weeks, is going to be the three-peat. That's going to be the storyline. Ain't nobody going to give a shit about the fact that Saquon Giants let Saquon walk, and now he's in a Super Bowl. It's going to be the storyline of can Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs make it a three-peat, be the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls. That's going to be a storyline the entire week. And
That's
I
why
think
at
people are
this
gonna
point,
get tired of it.
and that's why at this point I'm rooting for the Eagles to not have that happen. And that's crazy for me. But at this point I'd rather a rival win than Kansas City winning another one. It's just so boring. It's just like I can't get behind it. And we have a comment in chat from Wandera Music. Remember when the NFL didn't rig their games? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, so
That's funny.
that's a great one.
That's
And
funny.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, '07 when the cheating was rampant. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it. The NFL is such a good product, and I feel like they ruin it by trying to create storylines. It's not the NFL. Or it's not sorry, it's not the WWE. It's supposed to be this thing. It's I just hate that. I hate that it's seemingly so scripted and there's just these questionable plays. Even in our game yesterday, I'm not going to blame the refs for it because obviously 3 balls getting punched out, you're not going to win many games like that. But they ripped our helmet off and we got a penalty for it. And it just like, how is that not offsetting? Like, in what world? Like, it's just frustrating how many like I think they got to get it to a situation where review happens more often, and I kind of want a situation where it's like a third party reviews it, like not the officials that are on the field that are like I don't know how you do it, but like
I think the problem with that was that the refs didn't look until after Marshawn Lattimore did something, and that's what they caught. They didn't catch AJ Brown doing what he did, and that's probably why Marshawn got the penalty and not both of them or even AJ. And I think that's the issue is like it's human error. You have humans that are referees and not AI. So of course, if they're looking at where the ball is and then they blow the play dead and then they happen to look over and see Marshawn doing something to AJ, of course that's what they're gonna call, and it sucks because that is something right there that it should go to a third party to say, hey, AJ initiated the crap and Marshawn retaliated. They should be offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and that play should be even though it was after the play was over, but they should be offsetting and just go from there.
Benson,
Honestly,
that interested Panda said the ref did 6 Eagles games. The Eagles were 6-0 in those games, and in fact, I was pointing out the last 2 games that he's ref between these two teams, the Eagles have won both of them. So it's just it's difficult. in so many ways.
We can't put this all on the referees, because the referees weren't the ones knocking the ball out of these guys' hands. The referees weren't the ones that gave up 21 points off of those turnovers.
Or just
the
the first.
referees weren't
Yeah.
the referees weren't the ones that let Saquon get loose for 60 yards on their very first play from fucking scrimmage. We can't put it all on the refs now, because even if those calls don't, even if those calls don't happen against us, there's still all that other stuff that happened that led to us getting blown out in Philly. So anybody who blames the referees don't know shit about football. They need to realize that there was a lot more that happened in this game, and the referees was just a small, and I mean like a 0.1% factor in this game and how we got blown out. Period.
Yeah, no, I agree with that assessment. I just think that there's ways that we can do better. I think certain things need to be reviewed and reviewable that aren't in today's football. And I think like I like what the XFL does, where like everything can be reviewed. You don't get as many, and you don't, but if it's important enough to you and it's a big enough play, anything can be reviewed. There's so many cameras now, I think that's almost the way that it's gonna have to go
I
for
can't
people.
wait for the XFL to come back.
I know. I'm really excited about that. So looking ahead on this podcast, we will have a show next week on the 3rd and on the 10th. The 17th is to be determined if we're not skipping a week or we're doing it on the 18th. And then in March, we're going to have one on the 3rd and the 10th. We're going to actually celebrate our 9-year celebration a week early. I'm taking Liz to a concert on the 17th, which should be our 9-year anniversary. And then we're going to have a big break. We're going to actually be off for 3 weeks from the 17th, 24th, and 31st between season 9 and season 10. And then we're going to come back on April 7th and we'll recap the first 2 weeks of the XFL. So it'll be an interesting thing. We're not going to do as much March Madness coverage this year, maybe a little discussion about it, because I think the final game might already be over by then. But I am excited to talk about that. But I also am excited to have a bit of a break. We've had a very busy season this year with especially the extra coverage with the football and stuff like that. So, but I am excited about these next couple of weeks. We've got a bunch of great things to talk about, and then that big break will be in March. And then a small break in February. Again, we will talk about whether the 17th is going to happen on the 18th or not. Because I know that we get in so late. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning on the 17th, and then I'll have to work the next day. So we may end up just taking that whole week off and then starting again the following week for a couple of weeks until that next break. But lots of great stuff that we'll get to cover over the next couple of weeks. Well, next week we will do a bit of a Super Bowl preview. And I know that Carol was unable to join us tonight and give his thoughts. He's been just really busy. I think he's still on a work call actually. And so shout out to CP3. I know that you had a good time at his. I know his watch parties are usually a lot of fun.
Yeah, he had a friend of his over there who's an Eagles fan, but he was a really cool Eagles fan. So it was really cool to have him there, and it was really cool to be there. His lady, man, she's like really passionate about the Commanders. She was sitting there shaking her head at the play that was going on with the team, and it was really difficult to watch how this game turned out. But again, as I said earlier on, no one expected us to be here, so why not be at least somewhat happy that we got this far? It could have been another 4 or 5 win season, and we could be sitting at home since the start of the playoffs watching all this instead of actually being involved in getting this far.
Oh, Arun's tuning in. Okay, well, we're gonna bring in Arun real quick. And when Darrow Music said the AFL is greater than the XFL, that's true. I keep on calling it the XFL. It's not the XFL anymore. It is the AFL. It's a good point. And
That was the UFL.
oh, it's a UFL.
It's a UFL.
Oh yeah, he's talking about the AFL is the Arena Football. Sorry, it's the UFL now. Yeah, it's AFL is arena football. I'm sorry, but it's the what was the league called? It was that merged with the XFL. That was the
USFL.
USFL. That's what it was. AFL is arena football. Yes, we actually covered arena football for a couple seasons before it disbanded, and including that's one of our champions. I know it's not on the merch, but it was cool. I know, Wandera, you weren't a part of this podcast when we were covering it, but Carol and myself actually got press credentials and were able to go to the game and cover it from the end zones for the Arena Football League. And
I remember that. I remember that too, dog. I remember
yeah,
that.
that was really fun. It was super cool to see it in a hockey arena, and there was two local teams, Baltimore and Washington, and that was fun. And it was crazy because you just any team that made the playoffs had a chance. Like we were the worst team, one of the worst teams in the regular season, and we went on a crazy run to win the championship there. But I agree, it is a fast pace. The new is it UFL? Now I'm getting myself all confused. UFL, right? Like, is it
What?
yeah, it's UFL?
Yeah, the UFL.
UFL. Okay. The UFL it's kind of fun. They're taking XFL rules and the USFL rules and they hybrid and merge them together and get a lot of good coverage. It's a lot of fun to watch and high paced football as well, high scoring. And we got Arun with us. Arun, give us your quick take on the championship weekend, starting with the Commanders.
Turnovers, missed calls, and they couldn't really stop. Not a lot of defense. Those are my three things.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary of it. And then, did you watch the Buffalo Kansas City game?
Yeah, I watched it. Buffalo kept the game close, but they had the ball down 3 and they kind of blew it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I really thought this was their opportunity, right? They had the ball, they had held them to 3, and just what a time to dial up some exotic blitzes and really get them out of their groove. I was so excited because I was like, man, they've a little over 2 minutes left, and they have a real opportunity there, and yeah, they weren't able to get it done. But Haroon, any other thoughts about in the sports world? We are gonna sort of wrap it up, and then I'll have you and Tim and Champ. All three of us can talk a little more Super Bowl coverage next week. Leave something
Yeah,
for.
I'm still gonna watch the Super Bowl, even though it's not the ideal outcome. People who are doing other things, I'm still gonna watch the Super Bowl and eat a lot of food.
Yeah, I'm so torn. So that's actually a good segue for us to the final topic. So Liz doesn't want to throw the Super Bowl that we've always done. You know, she doesn't want these teams, doesn't want the pressure. We're gonna be skiing the day before and just doesn't want to do that whole process of, cooking and, getting everything ready and all that sort of stuff, which I don't blame her. But I don't know.
I don't either.
I still don't see a world where I don't watch the Super Bowl though. I've watched the Super Bowl every year of my life. I don't think I've ever missed one. And like ever since I was a baby, like I've always been at Super Bowls. Like my parents took me as like a baby to Super Bowl parties. Like I I just don't, and I'm so mad because I really wanted any other combination. Like obviously I wanted us in, but like any other combination would have been better. You know, if it's Bills versus Eagles, that's easy. I root for the Bills to finally win one. Like I don't know. It's just very frustrating for me. Like who do you, Arun, do you think you pull for Kansas City for the three-peat or do you pull for the Eagles, your a rival team? Like what do you
Uh, it's a lose-lose either way, but slightly towards Kansas City just because that was my default last time. But really, I don't really care that much. It's like it is what
I
it
just
is.
can't watch a football game with zero rooting interest, right? I just find that very boring. Like I
You can
need
start
to,
gambling, I think maybe. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
yeah, I
Like
don't
I
do
need
it
to
either.
root for a team in any game. Like I will pick in any random game that I watch. I will pick a team to root for. Like I can't just watch it for the sake of watching it. I don't know. Ken, what are your thoughts?
I'm with you. Like I don't recall ever missing a Super Bowl at all. Like I tend to watch them as well. Even when I was doing Lyft on a semi full-time basis, I was listening to the game.
Yeah.
And that's probably what I'll end up doing with this one since I have Sirius. I'll probably be out driving for Super Bowl and listening. I just don't think I'm going to be rooting for anybody in this one because of the fact that I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I'll still listen while I'm making money on driving Lyft. Yeah, hell yeah. But I'm just not. I just don't see me root for anybody here. I don't care for the 3P, and I don't want the Eagles fans to have even more reason to be insufferable.
Yeah. So Panda also doesn't think he's missed a game, but I think he's going to go do a movie night, or at least that's what we were talking about with him and his wife before. And Tina says, I have zero interest. Yeah, so yeah, there it is. Benson said he's going to watch the Cowboy Bebop movie because fuck the Eagles and fuck the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't blame him. And Tina says, I hope the ratings suck. I do too. And Benson was like rooting for a meteor.
I don't think I'm ready for a meteor. Maybe just cancel the game, but end of the world is not a good circumstance either.
I bet.
Right.
I think
Especially
most
Taylor
people,
Swift is there. I mean, that might cause utter
man,
chaos.
fuck her. Fuck her. Anyway, I think most people are going to watch the Super Bowl just to see what the commercials are going to look like. Because that's what most people watch the Super Bowl for, is for the commercials. Though the last few years, the commercials have been ass.
You can just
So I'm
watch those
hoping
on
they'll be a lot
YouTube,
better
though.
this year. What happens in the room?
You could just watch those on YouTube, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
And also then like, because that's the only bad thing is like, there's no good bathroom time when you're watching the Super Bowl because you want to watch the commercials, you want to watch the halftime. No, I have to say, like, I am not like super into the halftime show this year. Like, I don't know if I can even name you 3 songs that he does. And I know that he's famous, but I don't listen to his music, so I just don't. I'm not like super into it.
The last Super Bowl show I saw before, like after Janet Jackson and the wardrobe malfunction, was the one with Snoop and Dre and Eminem. I think either last year or year before last, because I know their stuff and I knew they was gonna break out the old stuff. So that's the only I don't really watch the halftime show either, because a lot of times they be having artists that I don't care about, and it's just like, why am I watching this? I can go and have a bathroom break and go take a shit somewhere or something like that. I don't
Right.
really need to sit here and watch this. Like,
I,
what the hell?
my son really liked the Shakira one. He was a baby and he thought that was entertaining. So, and wasn't it Usher last year? I think he.
I think it was Usher last year. I don't think I watched that one.
Yeah, I think I did.
Oh no, I didn't watch it because I was at your house and I left before halftime.
Right, that's right. Um, and Benson is clarifying he doesn't want a big meteor, just big enough to take out the stadium.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
New Orleans doesn't deserve another catastrophe. Maybe Kansas City or
Imagine
Philadelphia
if the
should go
power
on
goes
those.
off at the halftime again. Wouldn't that be wild? That was such a crazy Super Bowl the last time it was there. The Hardball Bowl.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was watching that Super Bowl live and the power went out, and then they came right out and had a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, Benson said maybe they should stop building a city in a bowl surrounded by water. That's an idea.
Okay.
All right. With that, I think, and I love how the Pokemon that just showed up is a pile of trash. So it just feels like it's time. Thank you, Arun, for joining us at the very end of this segment. And next week we will definitely have you on a little bit earlier, and we'll do a bit more of our "Will you watch the Super Bowl" and a preview of it. And also a recap of the Royal Rumble. We'll have that as well. And maybe the Wizards will win a game, but probably not.
Do they really only have 6 wins?
Yeah.
It's fucking January. What are we doing?
The Commanders have more wins since the basketball season has started than the Wizards.
That's fucking crazy, dog.
They have more than double the wins.
No, but since the season, because they but also since the season is the basketball season started, because like they couldn't get wins in September, so but the Wizards have still played a lot more games than the Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild.
That's ridiculous.
All right, let's take a look at the who is on right now. You know what? We're gonna be good. Um, I know it seems very strange, but we're gonna actually rate into an Eagles fan and tell him GG because he's been a big supporter of theirs and streamed watching every single one of the games. He's actually one of the biggest fans, and he's a rapper. It's his birthday, or it's his wife's birthday, and they're at a bowling alley right now. But we're just gonna head over there, and we're gonna just do a GG on the Eagles as our raid call, and yeah, because I just think that is the right thing to do. And it's gonna be my closing out chapter of this whole thing for the Commanders. And yeah, it's frustrating that we lost in a blowout fashion, but I think hopefully it's a start of something great in our future. And I'm just truly excited for next year. I know every year you always say, well, maybe next year, right? But I don't think I'll sort of have our closing thoughts on this. Arun, are you more excited about next year than any year in the last 20 years? Would you say that?
Yeah, other than the two, yeah, it's been like 24 years, like since that 2000 team that I was excited, I guess. Like when that $100 million team.
Yeah, that one. And then, yeah, 2012, maybe we thought that we saw glimpses of stuff. That's the only other one that I was like, oh, let's see what RG3 can do in year two or whatever.
But he's coming off an injury, so that one was kind
Yeah, it
of.
was less exciting. I would agree.
Panda.
Fuck Dan Snyder. Yes, it's true. There's a rumor that he was on a cruise ship, not a cruise ship, on his yacht rather, that he is furious with how well that they were doing. So I was curious how he would feel because it was his childhood team, but he does not clearly like the fact that they're doing well. And I hadn't really read about this. He sold the team under duress. Like he was going through the motions, but he was going to pull out last minute. And all the other owners and everyone else said, you can't pull out, you promised this. And he didn't want to give the information and didn't want to give the bank account information for them to route the numbers to it. And eventually, a bunch of these like really important people in our history, including Joe Gibbs, convinced him to finally sell the team. But he was gonna honestly go through that whole process and then be like, nah, I'm gonna keep him. And so I thought that was interesting that report came out this week that eventually he was kind of coerced into it, and that's how he feels about it, that he feels like he should have never have sold. But I don't know. I'd be happy if my team I rooted for as a child was rebuilding and rebounding, and I had $6 billion in my pocket, right? I mean, that's not bad. But he chooses to be salty, and I guess that's okay for him. Champ, any final thoughts on no spots this week before we end the show?
Yes, this week we will be streaming live on Friday because we do have the Royal Rumble coming up on Saturday. Live reactions with myself, Sith, and Sage. So that's going to be a hell of a freaking time when we get together. We will be previewing the Royal Rumble, and we will be giving a recap of Saturday night's main event, plus everything that happened this week with Raw, with NXT, which is taking place on Tuesday night, Dynamite, as well as TNA Impact, who had a live show last week. Now they're back to their tape format until at least March. And then, of course, we'll go through all of that this coming Friday, again, Saturday night, around 5:55 p.m. Eastern time with a 6 p.m. start time for the Royal Rumble. We will be live to react to the Royal Rumble. That should be a fun time. I cannot wait to see what the surprises are going to be in terms of, who's going to be in the Royal Rumble on both the men's and the women's side. You also have two title matches on the card. Tag titles are on the line, and 2 out of 3 falls match. That should be lit. Cody versus KO in a ladder match for the WWE title should be awesome. So great time coming up for wrestling, and that's coming up this weekend on No Spots.
All right. Arun, you dropped something in the chat, but it became asterisks. Who's the nice?
I was talking about Benson put 4 stars for. That's what he said. So I said Dan Snyder's a nice guy, right?
All right. With that, I'm gonna start our raid thing. I made a custom raid call, so if you have the emotes, you can do you can grab that, or you can do something either Happy Birthday or Go Eagles or GG Eagles or whatever. And we're gonna raid over to Al Mal Music, who is a friend of the show. And yeah, I with this, so it ends the Commanders season. But what a great season it was. Thank you everyone for tuning in and being a part of it. Thank you everyone for buying the merch. I saw, Tina, that the merch should be arriving any day now for you. So anyone who gets a piece of merch, if you could take a picture of yourself with it and send that to me in a message on Facebook, that would be awesome. I'd love to post it. Thank you for all the support all season long. It's been great. And I'm looking forward to talking about the UFL and things like March Madness and some other stuff over the next couple of weeks. We'll also preview the Super Bowl next week, talk some hockey as well, and some wrestling. And yeah, thank you again, everyone, for being a part of it. And we will head over now and definitely check out. Oh, Arun's got the Hey Arun podcast. And he's had a couple new episodes that he's uploaded on there as well. So go check that out with her. Hey Arun, and I'll do Champ's Command one last time as well. So go check out the True No Spots pod. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Sayonara.
Yeah.